Welcome to Stuck in My Mind podcast, the show where we dive into the mind of a regular guy on his road to self-discovery. You'll hear everyday people just like you share the latest topics, personal stories, and things they've learned along the way. And now, please welcome your host, Wise.
And welcome to another episode. I am your host, WIZE. And my guest today, she's a fellow podcaster, a business coach. Actually, listen, is the name of your podcast the Welcome to Get Up Girl podcast, or is it to the Get Up Girl podcast? What is it?
The Get Up Girl.
The Get Up Girl. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Joanna Vargas. What's going on?
Hey, Wise, what's up? I'm really excited. It's a Monday right now. If you're listening to this, real time, and I'm excited to talk to you. I'm excited to be real with El Jefe.
Listen, podcasting has been therapeutic for me. It's actually allowed me to find my voice, and because I'm not a radio personality. When I started podcasting, that was my first intro to media, as you can say, and because I'm a table games dealer at a casino.
What?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You've seen it all. You've heard it all.
So doing podcasting, people like, you mean you don't do this for a living? I'm like, this isn't something I like strive to. This wasn't something I was thinking. I was like, if you would ask me 3 years ago if I would be podcasting or how I would have a successful podcast, I was like, get out of here. But lo and behold, pandemic hit, forced me to find myself a hobby, and my podcast was born.
Wise, you have a great voice. It's a perfect voice for it too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you sound like one of those like welcome to WB40 late night R&B jam grooves voice.
It's funny because at first when I started, you always, anyone who listens to themselves, they don't like their voice. There's always something funny about your voice when you listen to yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't sound good. And people are like, what, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, dude, you got a radio voice. I'm like, okay, I don't. So yeah, so I've embraced it more and more. So I'm loving it.
Having fun with it. Yeah, it's fun. You know what? It's almost like free therapy, I tell people. I always leave a podcast feeling like, wow, ahas, like Oprah says. Always have an aha when I leave.
Yeah, well, when you have some great guests, the energy that you get from them, especially when it's just positive energy just flowing through it. By the end of the conversation, you're like so wired and have all this energy. There was a day where I recorded 4 episodes in one day, and by the end of the 4th episode, I was so wired and still had so much energy. The dude that I recorded with was like, "Thank you." I was like, "Why?" They were like, "Because you had nothing but energy for this episode, and you just told me you recorded 3 episodes prior to this, and you came with the same energy. But when you love what you do, there's nothing to it."
Yeah, it fills your cup. It doesn't take from you. It actually adds to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been addicted to YouTubes and podcasts since they came out. So I get it. What people are receiving is, I mean, we're probably even receiving more than what the listeners are receiving. It's really cool to be on that end.
At first, I was like, kind of felt guilty because I'm like, I'm learning so much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, is that kind of selfish on my part? And someone said, no, that's self-love. That's you wanting to grow and learn. So when I have guests on that are coaches and they have tips and all that, if I feel that it's something that I feel, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna apply that to my situation and see how that works. And then there's some things that just I'm like, nah, that's not gonna work for me.
Yeah, Wise, you know what? A big aha that I received from the pandemic was I've been a fitness and dance coach my entire life. And the biggest change now after the last 2 years, now that I teach, now that I coach, I show up for me. And my classes are actually better. They're packed. And so when you're saying like showing up for yourself or what, if you're receiving and you feel a little bit selfish, I used to show up for my clients. Like I would just give and there was nothing left. And I thought that was a good teacher. I thought that was a great instructor, but it was like they were taking my soul, not on purpose, but just I didn't know any different. Now I show up for me and I leave with more energy. Like you're saying, I don't leave depleted, and it's
Yeah,
so much more fun, and they could feel it.
they do. Even my guests, they can when they come, they're like, "Oh man, you're so easy to talk to. It's good." They're like, "We
Yeah.
just have a great conversation," and it's because I allow myself to be myself. I don't try to act as someone that I'm not. I just come here, have a good time,
Yeah.
learn in the process. Hopefully, the people at home listening learn something as well, and so for me, it's just like, oh man, this is just all this positive vibe and all this positive energy, and that's why I started my podcast was because there was just so much negative content going out with the politics and the news and all the protests and everything, and I felt
Mm.
maybe if I can provide some positive content to help people embrace, like help people through the pandemic, because everybody's lost someone because of COVID or even because of suicide. Suicide rate was out has been crazy, and so if I've been able to help anyone with what I'm doing, I feel like I'm doing the right thing.
Absolutely. You know what? I have a question for you. Oh, I'm curious. Why did you name it Stuck in My Mind? I want to know.
Okay, all right. So I've been stuck in my mind for so long. Like
Oh.
I had been wanting to do a podcast since 2019. I even purchased the equipment. I started a Podbean account and I did nothing with it. I had it in the house, had the mic, everything, and didn't do anything with it whatsoever. And when the pandemic started, I got furloughed from work for a few months. And all I was doing was doing stuff around the house. The wife was still working, she was essential. So basically, she was like, here's a list for you to do.
Yeah.
You ain't got nothing to do. And
Honeydew.
I was like, yeah, I think I need to find myself something to do. And like I said, I had the equipment here, and I just kept making excuses. I was like, oh, I don't want to do it by myself, or I don't sound good. So I would record, delete it, record, delete, and like, And then finally, my nephew had started his YouTube, and when we was talking, and one day I'm on the phone with him, and I just decided to press record. And when we did it, it was a like little 5 minute intro, and it was like stuck in my mind podcast. I'm like, and it was just something I knew that was the title. Once I said it, it was like this is the title. This has to be the title because I've been stuck in my mind even before prior to the podcasting. Everything else in life as well.
Mm,
Like like I was widowed at 31, and so I went through some dark times between then, and
yeah.
but she had prepared me by introducing me to self development and introducing me to Abraham Hicks and Sylvia Brown and the Secret and everything like that. But when I lost her, I sort of lost my way,
Mm,
and I was stuck in my head. It was just me, when you grieving and people grieve differently, and it was just it was me having to deal with everything that was going on in my life. And so one day I woke up and I was like, you know what? I need to get out of this rut. I need to really seek help and really get to where I need to go because like I said, she had already started me on that path. And so I felt I was angry for something I couldn't control.
yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, so there's so many different reasons why I named it stuck in my mind, but I'm glad I did.
That is a cool name. And love that you love Abraham. She's my girl.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Have you seen her live wise?
No, I would love to.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
definitely love to.
It's pretty cool.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just something. It was just, and I've gotten back into the teachings. I've been watching her videos on YouTube and all that, and it's. I'm glad I'm getting back into that.
Hmm.
I've been able to find my passion and find what I want to do and my purpose, and it's with me providing a voice for the people out there that I feel are the voiceless.
Mm, that's really cool. I like the title.
Yeah. So tell us about your podcast.
It's called The Get Up Girl. And the reason for that is that one of my superpowers wise is that I keep getting back up. I'm that what's that clown that keeps, it falls
Oh
down and
yeah,
the clown
the
gets up?
pound the punching bag one where
The
you punch
punching
it,
bag one.
and
I mean,
every little kid had one growing up, and
it just keeps popping back up,
yeah,
popping back up. And I've discovered that's who I am. And I was working with my business coach one day and like same thing, 2019, I'm gonna start my podcast. And we're thinking, what are we gonna name it? She goes, well, you know what? You're so good at getting back up. You're the get up girl. I'm like, damn, that's it. When you just get the goosebumps. And so I teach, it's very similar to the Abraham teachings and things of that nature. And it's tools, it's different tools that are not your cliche tips, tricks to do. And the biggest thing that I've noticed is in my own personal self development journey, I hit a glass ceiling. After like 15 years of self development, I mean, you name it, wise, I did it. I walked on fire. I've jumped out of airplanes. I've done everything so that I would not die, like literally, so that I would not choose death. And it was very, very difficult. And I just kept getting back up. I'm like, if I'm hit one more time, I don't really think I could take another punch. And until I started to learn different tools, I'm like, oh, this is freedom. And I label it as freedom. Yes, there's happiness there, but very similar, like, what Abraham, she's like, you're just free. It's less. It's not that life is going to be perfect. Of course,
of
we
course not.
get
Yeah,
every 5 seconds or every 5 minutes or every 5 days, there's a little slap. And how can you still have freedom through that? How can you still be the eye of the storm when can you receive all of it? Because in the past, wise, I was very conditional. I can receive this, but I can't receive that. And this is bad and this is good. And now I just see everything for it. That's it. There's no good or bad. It's just it. If this happens, okay, that happened. But it's not this happened and it sucks or this happened and it's good. It just happens. And so that's what I talk about on the podcast and give different tools. Very, very different things.
it's funny because my wife's it's because like you, I suffered so many blows that you would think everyone would be a knockout blow, and you just get back up, and the only thing I've come to realize is I can only control what I can control, and makes no sense in me getting angry and upset over things I know I have no control over, and and that was one of the reasons I was stuck in my mind is because I was angry over things that I couldn't control, and so I was beating myself up for no reason, and I was hurting myself for no reason. So to be able to like I said, pick yourself back up, and again the teachings of Abraham Hicks and all the other mentors, it started really hitting me where it's like, okay, yeah, all right, I can be happy. I deserve to be happy,
Mhm.
and I can't keep blaming myself for stuff I have no control, and I can't keep punishing myself for something I have no control. And to be able to wake up and realize that it's a sense of freedom. People feel like, oh, you don't care about anything. It's not that I don't care about anything. It's just that I'm not gonna beat myself up over it.
It's interesting how we were taught that in order to show that we care, we have to get angry or get sad or react. And if we do not react, then we don't care. It's interesting how reaction equals care. And I'm like, that doesn't ring true for
Sense.
me.
Yeah, it definitely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It doesn't.
Yeah. Doesn't ring true for me. I'm like, I actually, by without reacting and just being the eye of the storm, that is loving and care and that is kind. But we're taught that kindness equals reaction and like I'm in the middle of your stuff and I have to give you advice and I have to be in the middle. I'm like, is that really kindness? It's very interesting. I been dating my boyfriend about a year and a half, and when we started dating, he said, you are the first person that never said to me the same things that everybody else said. For example, if he came to me and he had like a quote unquote issue, right? Oh, this is happening in my life. And I would look at him and I go, Okay, what would you like to do with that? And he was blindsided because he said, I've always been used to somebody giving me advice, somebody telling me I should do this. And he's like, you were the first person that never told me what to do. I'd come back and ask him a question. And I kind of felt nothing. I didn't go, wow, I can't believe they said that, or get in the chisme, so to speak, the gossip
Yeah,
with him. Right. I didn't get in there with him. I just said, cool, what would you like to create, or what would you like to choose now? It was like, what would you like now, not
yeah,
going backwards and let's talk about the crap. It's like this, Wise. I think of it many, many times and I describe it just like this and people get it. When you go to the restroom and you're going to go number 2, do you look at it and stir it and bring it out and touch it and bring it to your friends and talk about it with your friends and show it and smear it on the walls? No, as soon as you can, you flush it.
that shit.
At
Yeah,
least I do, right? I'm like, let's flush it. No, so I'm like, flush it and then let's talk about the future. But he wanted to, go into, and he's like, wow, that is so interesting. I've never had that before. And it's really cool when you surround yourself with people that do not want to go in the toilet bowl with you and talk about it. It's like, let's flush it, let's move on. What else can we create? What else is possible here? Rather than how can we go backwards and stir it around some more?
yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's something I've tried to, and like I'm still learning. She's still growing and learning, and we complement each other very well. And so my wife now, she's oh man, she's a handful, but she pushes me.
Mm.
Like before I got with her, I didn't have a passport. So when we started dating, she's like, I need you to get a passport. It was no
We're gonna go
question.
places.
She's like, yeah, we're going on vacation. She says, I like to go on vacation. She
Yeah.
says, I like to travel. And that to me was sexy. To me, that was
Mm.
like, ooh, okay.
Mhm.
Because I've never had a woman be that blunt. Like, yeah, you need to get a passport because I see us doing things. And so when I started my podcast, she saw how passionate I was about it and how much time I spent on it. And she's like, okay, here we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna start this, start this.
Mm.
So she helped me start my production company. She helped me launch my internet radio station. She helped me build my business because she saw something that I love to do, and she's like,
Mm.
"How can I help you benefit? How can you
Mm.
monetize this? How can you make this something that you can quit your job and do this all the time?" And that's the vision she has. She's a smart businesswoman, very a big entrepreneur. She saw her brother was a mechanic. She helped him get not work for anyone else, get his own shop.
Mm.
And it's a very successful shop. And so I was blessed, especially once I got out of my rut and got out of everything I was going through, and I was open to receiving. She came into my life,
Mm. Mhm.
so it worked. It worked. Life is crazy. It's when you're ready to receive your messages and receive what you're supposed to receive, they will come into your life.
Oh, yeah. Wise, I love the word willing. That's one of my favorite words. I learned that a couple years ago. I had a coach one time said, are you willing to do this? And I went, oof. And she said, willing is not that you want to do it. It's very different. And I always learned in the past that willing meant that you wanted to do it, that you're like excited to do it. You're like, no, willing is like, are you open? You may not want it, you may be afraid and things of that nature, but are you willing? So I asked that question to myself a lot. Joanna, are you willing to receive this? Are you willing to end that? Are you willing to create this? Are you willing for a different possibility? And it's like, ooh, yes. And sometimes it's like, ooh, you feel that little. And so when I was willing to release my past relationship before my current partner now, my boyfriend now, he came into my life. But I was still not willing, even though we were not physically together anymore. I was still holding on energetically.
Yeah,
It was, even though I didn't think I was like, he's gonna come back and apologize. He's gonna do this. I mean, whatever it was, Joanna, that ain't not gonna happen. I know what else is possible, but it's probably not gonna happen. So what are you willing to do? What are you willing to receive moving forward? And I really learned how to receive all of it wise, because many times we think of gifts or surprises or things that we receive. We all think of the good stuff, right? I want to receive gifts. I want to receive this. I want to receive that. Well, can you receive all of life, all of what it has to offer? And Abraham, she speaks of that a little differently, the words that she uses.
Yeah.
But can we receive the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful? Because when we're only willing to receive the good and the beautiful, then we actually cut off all of it. We cut off all of it. We think we're, because then we peekaboo. Okay, I want this, but I don't want this. And so when we cut off one part of our life, we actually cut off a lot of other things. We cut off money, we cut off energy, we cut off love. It could be in other places that we can't even cognitively see it.
Yeah.
And when I was willing to receive everything, it's not fun. Then more money came into my life. An amazing man came into my life. Like all these feather touches that you don't even realize. You're like, dang, my life is actually really like there's little things starting to come in when I'm willing to receive all of what life has to give.
Yeah, it is. It's same thing here. It's with again when I was willing to accept the good with the bad, and that's what it was for a long time. I wasn't willing to accept the bad, and and once I was willing to do that and get over it and move on, and then things started falling into place. Things just started happening. Even when with the podcast, for so for so long, I was making up excuses. But then one day I was like, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? No one listens. No one listens, and what? But at least I tried. At least I made an effort. The whole time I was on the sideline doing nothing, I was already losing. So pressing record was me like, you know what? Kicking in the door, like I'm here.
Hmm.
And little by little started growing. The more I started being more consistent with it, it started growing. I started attracting the people because at first people I would send requests for guests and all that, and their first question was, "Oh, how big is your audience? How many viewers? How many downloads?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm just starting out," and they're like, "Yeah, nothing." And so when I really started being more consistent and started reaching out to people, because people you're gonna get hundreds of no's, but you're gonna get a few yeses in between. And when people gave me the opportunity to have them on my show, I started gaining more confidence, and it started growing, it started evolving, it started improving
Mhm.
because I was being more dedicated to it. I started investing in better equipment. I started learning editing my audio, my video, all things that I didn't prior didn't have interest in. But once I started podcasting, it was like, okay, let me start doing this. Let me start learning this because it interested me. It was something like, all right, this is everything. I didn't know. I didn't think. I didn't know I could learn these things. These are things that, if you would ask me a couple of years, like, dude, you know how to edit audio, video, program. Like, was like I
Mhm.
said, I was a table games guy. I had an easy job. I played games for fun for a living, and to be able to do it has just been a blessing. And it's all started with when me opening up, willing to receive everything that was coming into my life.
Yeah, Wise, as you were talking, this quote came up to when in my mind whenever you're thinking, and it's one of my favorite reminders when I'm stuck. Hence the title of your podcast. But whenever I feel stuck and I'm just like, it's hard for me to make a choice, I always think of the mantra or the question of choice creates awareness. So, what choice would I like to make? Because at least I and a lot of kids, right, when we're growing up, we think or we're taught that we will receive the answer or the awareness first in order to make the choice. So people go, I need to research, I need to let me think about it before I make the choice. And it's like, no, you actually make the choice first, then you will get clarity, awareness. Then you will go, oh, I like this, I don't like this. It's just like going to a buffet. You don't sit there and go, let me study the food before. No, you just start putting stuff on your plate and you go, I'm going to give it a try. And if I like it, I could always go back. And it's really interesting how we're teaching. I see adults teaching young children that they have to make a choice and it's like forever. Like this is forever and this is it. And it's like, whoa. For example, do you want to play soccer? It's like, okay, I want to try it. And then you're like, you don't like it where you have to do soccer forever. I mean, I remember being 10 years old. And if I didn't stay with that same thing forever, I got so much shame. But I'm like, but I don't like it anymore. I thought I was going to like it, mom. Now I don't like soccer. I want to try something different. And so we're picking up these things that we can't make choices unless it's forever. So I've noticed that as adults, it's harder to make a choice because we were taught that it has to stick. Like, what if I do this and I fail? But actually, we're thinking, what if I try this and I don't like it? And people are going to think I fail, but it's because I don't like it. But it was cool wise that you tried it or you made the choice and now you're learning editing and you're learning this and you're learning how to create all these businesses because of the choice that you made. And I wonder if we could let people off the hook more for making choices and then changing their mind. But it's like, I feel like we can't change our mind. We have to stay with something forever. And I was willing to start my podcast and go, you know what? I may hate this, but I'm going to try it. You know what I mean? And whatever people think, whatever they think.
Like I said, I didn't know. I mean, I was making excuses in my head. I was like, I sound horrible. Why would I do it? People ain't gonna want to listen to me. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just throw it out there. And I it started with 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
but it started first me ranting and complaining about being out of work and the pandemic and the protests and everything else is going on, and I wasn't enjoying it. I was enjoying the talking, but I wasn't enjoying the content, and I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. So when I switched it over to the conversation pieces, where I was able to talk to people and have people on, that's when I really started really loving it and found that, hey, I'm pretty good at this. It was like, hey, I'm enjoying this. People are actually responding. People are actually sending me messages now. People are actually requesting to be on the show.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
compared to when people were like, nah, I'm not
When you're
interested.
begging them,
Yeah.
you said 100 no's. Yeah, now you want to be on my show.
But it feels good because I've worked hard to build it up to where it's at.
Yeah, congratulations. So happy for you.
It's I've learned from everyone I've been networking with is consistency is key. And you're gonna only improve every time you get behind the camera or the mic. It's only me improving. Like this, I'm hoping this episode is better than the last episode, and then the next one is going to be better than this one. And that just comes with me continuing to do what I'm doing.
Yeah. I listened to some of my first ones. I'm like, woo, thank God, Joanna, you've improved. Good job, girl. Like, and I'm so happy that I'm like talking to her. I'm so happy that you just started. But wow, you've really come a long way.
It's crazy because I started in April 2020, and I'm up to 140 something episodes.
Mm.
It was last year I went crazy recording. I still have content because I just switched to video in September. I
Oh,
switched. I started my YouTube
cool.
channel, and in January I just got up to over 1,000 subscribers, and then this past March I got monetized.
Mm.
So it was it's been me working hard and building it, and now that I'm video, I have a whole bunch of audio for my audio podcast that I need to get out. It's like I have episodes from the end of July till now, because now I still have these audios that I'm using from the videos that I'm recording. So I have so much content that I'm like, I just gotta chill. So I had to cut back on my recording because I was recording 5 days a week, like
Just like, yeah.
3, 4 episodes a day. And it's just like, but then you burn yourself out. So I had to take a week off and go on vacation and go to Puerto Rico and went to Jamaica with the wife. And 'cause you have to give yourself some. You burn out. You do. You really. I had to unplug for a while, but I'm back now. I've managed to scale back because I've scheduled now. I only record Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays
Mm,
once a day, and so Thursdays and Fridays are more for in case I need to go be a guest on somebody else's podcast, or is that something else you have to do as a podcaster is be a guest on other podcasts so you can build up your audience that way as well.
yeah. That is so cool. You started April 2020. So you started right when the pandemic started. That's really
Yes.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. You know what? It could have changed the numbers, since the pandemic, but this was right in 2020 that I read a study that most podcasts, I think it's like 90 something percent, don't make it past 3 episodes.
Well, it's 7 to 10 episodes because I read the
Oh,
same study,
okay.
but
It
it's
changed.
it, it's 7 to 10 episodes, and when I got up to 20, I was like, all right, shoot,
I made it.
I did
I
more than 10,
made
and
it.
now I'm like I have like over probably 100 in the can that I need to release, and then with all the videos that I've been recording since September, it's like I got content galore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. Cause yeah, so 7 to 10. Yeah. I guess it's similar to a YouTube channel too. A lot of people start YouTube channels. And again, you make a choice, you try it, maybe it's not for you because it's a marathon. Having a podcast, a YouTube channel is a marathon. This is not a sprint. Yeah, Wise, I had this conversation yesterday with my boyfriend, and I'm curious what you think as well. I'm wondering, with all the changes after the pandemics and so many people, as yourself, right, have created businesses and have left, the job that you were doing.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
assuming
still doing my
you're
job.
still
I
got
still
it.
do
I
my
was going to
job.
ask you that.
I
Okay.
still do my job.
Okay.
I'm not crazy yet. I'm not
Not yet.
not yet. I'm not crazy yet. It's still I'm still growing the business, but it's a foundation. It's me laying down the
Mm,
foundation for eventually. Yeah, I plan on doing my business full time. But no, I'm not crazy yet to leave my job.
that's cool. Okay. Well, let's just say there are a lot of people. I have a lot of friends that have left their careers and now are full-time business,
Owners, yeah.
entrepreneurs that have never owned a business. So I was curious. I'm like just throwing a hypothesis out there. I'm wondering if there might be a bubble, a business bubble in a couple years of people that, and I wonder because, owning a business is a marathon, and right now you might be in the sprint and it's fun, and people that might burn out and go, you know what, I'm going to go back to a W-2. I'm going to go back to a paycheck after 2 to 3 years. I'm wondering after the pandemic where there's a bubble of people that go, you know what, this is not for me.
And it's a picture I see, and it's like they're digging, and right when they're about to hit
Oh,
the
yeah.
gold or whatever it is, they stop digging,
Yeah.
and that's what a lot of people is it's because people think, oh, they start a business, they're supposed to be successful off the back. No, that's not going to happen. You have to build your name up. You have to build up your reputation. People have to see that you're serious about this,
Hmm.
and so people not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone
Hmm.
is built to be an entrepreneur. It's not an easy life because you're actually probably going to work more than you did when you was at your 9 to 5, and that's something people don't realize is you're the boss now. So when you went to your job, all you did was what was required of you. Now that you're the CEO, owner of your own business, you just can't show up. It's not just showing up to work. It's
Mm.
things that you have to do. You have to manage and do a whole different animal than from receiving a W-2.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's the fantasy of owning a business, and I'm going to just say being your own boss. I hear that more often than I'm ready to work 80 hours a week and get paid less than I was. So I'm wondering if it's the fantasy And my question to my boyfriend was, like, it's not for everybody, right? And I wonder if they would have been doing it already if it was in their blood, so to speak. Like if it was just in your nature. You could tell if it's in like a kid's nature to be, a hustler kind of thing.
I
So I'm
come from I come from a family of hustlers, so
yeah. Oh,
for
I love
me,
it.
it's in the blood,
Mm,
and like my aunt came from Puerto Rico with nothing, and she built herself something here. She
mm,
like I didn't realize it till now, till I got older and she passed. But this is a lady that she came from Puerto Rico in the '60s, like came to Brooklyn and built. She started owning properties,
mm,
had a social club that people would come through and stuff like that. And she ran her numbers and all that. So
yeah.
it was she was a hustler. And when you growing up, you didn't look at nothing like that. But now I'm realizing like, she was the ultimate entrepreneur. She
Mm.
built something from nothing, and she lived her life the way she wanted to live.
She was like
Eh,
the
she-
Puerto Rican Jay-Z.
but it's crazy because she lived her life the way she wanted to live it. Like no one could
Yeah.
tell her anything. And at
Mm,
first, I just like, oh, she's just stubborn and mean. But the more I'm realizing, I'm like, man, she was an entrepreneur. She was a businesswoman,
mhm,
and she worked hard for what she had, and she wasn't handed. It wasn't handed to her, and she didn't expect out to give out handouts either because she worked hard for what she had.
mhm,
So yeah,
mhm.
it's crazy how the things you realize later on in life that you don't notice when you're much younger.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool to I love human behavior. I really enjoy learning from people, learning like the whys behind something and what makes people tick. What why do some people choose this and some people choose that? And I love what you said earlier, whys about how not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur and we need or the worker bees, right? Like if you're looking at bees, you have the queen bee and you have worker bees. Like all makes it work together. And I'm like, I'm so grateful for, if not everybody can be the boss.
No,
That's kind of yeah.
no, it's true. It is, and you get to real, but that's the problem with a lot of things is some people take advantage of it and they build systems to to make people to think that hey,
Mm,
if you do this system, you can be successful like me. You can be an entrepreneur and be successful like me, and that's not the case.
mm, I totally get what you're saying. Yep. Hmm.
And there's a lot of gurus out there that they just trying to sell you a system. They're not really trying to help you build and grow yourself.
Mhm,
And so listen. There's
mm,
systems out there that work that are legit and people just again, not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. This is
mm,
some people aren't built for this. You're gonna realize that you quit your job and you're like, oh my god, I'm working 90 hours a week and I, like you said, you're going to be making less pay. You're not going to have the benefits that you have from a 9 to 5. You won't have the medical benefits that they're offering. You got to pay for it for yourself. So it's a lot of things that you have to sacrifice that you might not be willing to sacrifice.
mhm. Yeah. It's a it's a different game. It could be really fun. Like I tell people, it's fun and it's different. It's not one that's better than the other. They're just different. They're so different. They're different games. It's like just because you're good at football, you may not be good at basketball. They're two different games.
Yeah,
Yeah, even though you're an athlete, they're different.
yeah,
Yeah.
completely different sports. I sucked at basketball, but I played baseball and football. I played the sports that I loved, and I knew I was good
Mm.
at.
Baseball and football. Oh. What was your position in baseball?
Catcher.
I was
Uh,
gonna guess that. Were you the catcher?
I was just a catcher and outfield and third base,
Third. Okay. Yeah.
but mostly catcher.
Hmm.
And then in football, tight end and defensive end.
Mm.
So
I
yeah,
always have so much like awe for the catchers. I'm like, I feel like same thing with like hockey and the goalie. Like they're just like they hold everything together.
it's sometimes when the ball just would bounce off the mask, it would be like,
Oh,
yeah,
ouch.
it's but it's it that sport definitely put it's in my blood. Like all my brothers, my father, uncles, everybody played baseball around me, so
Mm.
it was something that I was like, yeah. I wasn't really serious about it like that to become professional, but I love the game.
Is that where you grew up? We say you're at? Are you from the East Coast?
Yes, I'm
Mm.
from Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got Los Angeles side and the are you still over there in the East Coast?
Yes, I'm actually now in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania.
Ooh, that's
So I went from
beautiful.
city life to mountain life,
Ooh.
and it's actually snowing right now.
Wow. I'm in like 80-degree weather and
Yeah,
it's
last week
wow.
we had like beautiful weather, t-shirt weather, walking outside and raking out the yard and everything. And today,
Wow.
snow.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big difference, man. Like coming from the city to living up in the mountain, but it's so peaceful, and I love being up here, and I still get to do what I do, man. I get to record from home.
And what game do you deal? Do you have a
Uh,
special game or
I mostly deal craps
oh crabs? Okay.
and roulette, but
Roulette.
I have a bunch of games. The only thing I don't officially have is poker
Hmm.
and pie gow tiles, but I
Is
have
that like
everything else.
a specialty? Would that be a niche
Yeah,
kind of
that's
dealer?
yeah. A lot of mostly the Asian dealers deal that game,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and but I have baccarat, which is another game a lot of Asian dealers deal. But craps is my favorite game.
Hmm. I don't understand it. I've tried it. I'm like, I need a PhD in craps. Like,
It's it is. Listen, I tell people this: don't learn the game because once you learn the game, it's
you're addicted.
over. It's
It's over.
over. It's over. It's the
I've
best game in the
heard.
house. Listen, you can lose just as fast, but you could win just as fast, especially because technically every roll is a winning roll,
Uh,
but you just gotta bet it. And that's the case. That's the thing. So there's times where people come in and they lose the house, they lose everything, and then there's times they come in and they can't lose.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, the house is always gonna win. So there's people
Wow.
that just don't know when to stop.
Wow. I'm always like, I look at it and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea.
It's
I'm
a
a pretty
fast moving
smart
game.
person and my IQ feels like zero right now.
It was crazy because when I first started in the industry, I started in security because in New York, I had actually applied for a cabana boy position at
Oh,
the resort,
yeah.
and and on my resume they saw that I had security experience from bouncing in the city and working security and working
Uh-huh.
security in the city, and so they called me and was like, "Yo, we know you applied for this position, but we're hiring for security. It's 40 hours, benefits, everything." I was like, and the cabana position was only part time, and I was like, I had just moved to Pennsylvania. I was like, sure, I'll take it. And when I started becoming friendly with a lot of the pit bosses and a lot of uh, supervisors, and they're like, you need to come to this side of the table
Mm.
because this is where the money is. They're like, because a couple of guys that they started with security, they're like, that ain't where the money is. You need to come over here. And after a year of security, I went, learned blackjack. They
Mm.
offered a class. The company offered a class, and I took the class and passed. And that was the first game I learned. And I started part time as a dealer. I left full time security
Mm.
and benefits to part time dealer, working 3 days a week and making double the money that I was making in security.
Yeah.
So when I went full time, and being that I was already an employee there prior, full time employee prior, to get full time didn't take long for me to get
Mm.
full time back again. So again, the money was I get paid well.
And you have a great personality for it,
So
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's one thing that's something you learn. You learn customer service because you deal
Mhm.
with people. You gotta learn how to deal with people. You gotta learn how to and like when you get because I've been called everything. I was called the devil. I was called everything.
'Cause you took their money, it's your fault. Is that what?
I was called every name in the book,
Uh,
and you got to sit there and
yeah.
smile and be like,
Uh-huh.
"Yes, sir. This, it's,
Yes, sir, I am the devil.
I'm sorry you feel
Feel
that
that way.
way, but and so, but then you get players that when they lose, they still have a great time. They're like, listen, I don't come here with the expectation of winning. Like, I come here to have a good time, knowing that I can lose this money and just if I win, then that's a bonus. But I know I'm here to have a good time and I enjoy those players and I try and I love to have them win because I know because they think the dealers make all this money off of hourly rates. No, we survive on tips.
Yeah.
We survive. I hourly, I get paid $5.45 an hour, but I survive on my tips. So
Mhm.
when people be like, "Oh, you want me to lose?" I'm like, "No, we
Those
dealers as dealers, we want you to win."
Yep.
They
Yep.
don't get it. They think we're out. No, y'all, we want y'all to win because if y'all winning, y'all drinking and having a time, y'all
Yeah.
tipping.
Yeah.
So yes, we want y'all to win. We it is not my money.
I don't get a bonus if you lose.
No, my boss, the some one of the upper management might get bonuses,
Yeah.
but me as a dealer, I want you to win
Mhm.
because if you win, hopefully you can loosen up purse strings and you get tip. It's simple,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, you're absolutely right. Though there you meet some of the most interesting people.
That job though is very entrepreneurial. Like that's how I see it. I see a lot of it's like you got the hustler mentality, bartenders, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you build certain you do build certain things you like you said you build personality, you build your customer service skills. There's certain things you do build up while you're in in that business, and so me being able to because even like being able to joke around with the clients, the customers, and stuff like that, it just lets me be myself again. Like just have a good time and go to work and like I said, I enjoy my job. It's the moment I really do truly start disliking it, it's time for me to go.
Mhm. That's cool. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's great. So where can everybody find your podcast?
All the podcast places, and it's called The Get Up Girl. I would love for you all to come check out an episode, subscribe, write a review, and follow me on Instagram. Come say hello to me, DM me. And my Instagram is Joanna Vargas Official.
And I did follow you.
Oh, cool. All right, I'm gonna tag you. You took a little
I,
video.
I did follow you. But yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna take a video too for the gram.
Yeah.
Let's take a
You
video
tag me, you
too.
can tag me
I'm gonna tag you. I'm gonna
from the
tag you.
East Coast.
Let's do this. All right. What is it? Real? What I'm gonna do? Real? I'm not. I really. I post a little bit on Instagram, but not. Oh,
Probably
should I do
do.
live? I'm gonna do a live. How about do a
Oh,
live?
okay. Unless you
Yeah,
want to do a story.
no, we're gonna do a live right quick.
Okay. Yeah, we got to get you on Instagram.
All right, so I am live here on Instagram. Okay, how do I? Oh, but let me just show you who I'm with. I'm
Yeah.
not by myself.
Hey, Joanna Vargas here. What's
Hold on,
up?
I didn't flip it yet. I'm still
Oh,
working. I'm having
we got a
technical
newbie
issues.
here.
Yes, I've never done a live. Like really. Okay, how do I get out of that? Manage your live and see who's watching. I don't care about that. Come on, this is not good. Okay, yeah, this is you do this. Let me try to figure this out. Oh
Okay,
man.
I'm gonna tag you. I'll tag you. Mm-mm.
Okay, I guess since this was my first live, it's gotta show me
Yeah,
all the
here
nonsense.
live, Stuck in My Mind podcast with Wise El Jefe from the East Coast, and he's doing his first live on Instagram,
And it's not
and it's
working.
not working. I'm
It's not working.
gonna tag him here on
Instagram,
Instagram.
I don't know what to do, Instagram.
All right, cool. What's your Instagram?
Why is el jefe?
Oh, that's okay. I can. That's easy.
It's wise underscore el jefe it's
Oh, there
wise
you are.
underscore. Yeah, there I go.
Yeah, with your cartoon, I love it.
Yeah. So let's try this one more time. All right, let's try this. All right, so now I am live. I think I'm live. Yeah. Yes, I am live with Joanna Vargas here on Instagram.
What's up?
What's going on?
What's going
See?
on? Well, we're here on the Stuck in My Mind podcast, live here on all the channels and recording a podcast. We're having fun.
Yeah, we're recording a podcast and we're coming on Instagram live. This is what we do.
And welcome to Wise's first Instagram live. And
Yes,
then,
it is.
so then you could record it. I mean, you could save it into your phone, Wise, so
Can
that
I?
you don't lose it. Because if you don't, then you're going to lose what you just recorded right now.
Oh, so it disappears after this?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I didn't
So
know
when
that.
you press done, there's a little down button. So then you want to put it into your phone.
Oh, see, look, you learn something new every day. I am a Instagram live newbie. This is my first live, and I'm recording an episode with Joanna Vargas of Stuck in My Mind podcast. So check me out on all major platforms. Definitely check out Joanne's. Let them know what your podcast is.
The Get Up Girl podcast.
So yeah, so we're recording an episode and doing the gram. This is dope. This is dope. Definitely. But thanks everybody who's tuning in. We're gonna wrap this up. So peace out on the gram.
Oh yeah, there you are.
So it says now I gotta what? Share. I don't know. What do I do?
Yeah, if you press share, but then also, uh, it's kind of hard. I'd have to see it. There's a little down button. You're gonna see like a down arrow button,
Yeah,
and that one will save it to your
to my phone.
device. Yep.
Okay. Uh, there it goes. Ah, that was fun.
Yay!
It popped my cherry.
You
Yay.
did it. Your life cherry.
Oh man. Did I not have the volume on? Oh, yeah. Okay, it's there.
You got it. Yay.
All right. So now's the time for you to really promo and everything, websites, everything.
Everybody follow the Get Up Girl podcast. Subscribe there. And then you can follow me at thegetupgirl.co. Go to my website there. And I would love to hear from you on Instagram at Joanna Vargas Official. Send me a DM or screenshot this episode and then tag us both. Tag Wise and tag me. And then let us know what your takeaways were from today's show. We'd love to hear from you.
Definitely, definitely. All right. Oh, I need to. We need to set something. I need to come up on your show. I want to come up on the Get Up
Oh,
Girl
yeah.
show.
Okay, we'll set it up. We'll have you on the Get Up Girl. We'll just have the Get
Definitely.
Up guy. The Get Up El Jefe. That's what we'll call it.
But I appreciate you being on. But don't leave just yet. Let me just give my quick shout outs and we chat a little bit off air. All right. So big shout out to my real wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J. Love you guys. Big shout out to the boss lady. Love you, baby.
Hmm.
Big shout out to Joanna Vargas for coming through and showing love. Big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Listen on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, and TuneIn. Find us on social media on Twitter at wise_b_blunt, Instagram at wise_b_blunt, and a Facebook fan page, www.facebook.com/wise76. Check back soon for new episodes. Until next time, peace out.